Hey guys, I'm headed up to Alaska and traveling the country for a while, probably a 2 or 3 motorcycle camping trip by myself. So I figured I'd go through everything I'm bringing and explain my thought process behind some of the items. And of course, everything you bring is going to be dependent on where you're going and for how long. So I'll try to explain my thought process on some of the items I'm bringing. So let's go ahead and jump into it right away here. Let's start with the sleeping arrangement. I have a 2-man Marmont tent. It's about 4.5 pounds and it compresses pretty well once you pack it into a side bag. It's nice having a 2-man tent with vestibules so you can kind of lay out in the tent if it's raining and be comfortable, and also hide some of your stuff under the vestibules out of the rain. I used to bring blow-up pads for sleeping pads. I now use this thermal rest sleeping pad because on a multi-month trip, every time I've gone on a longer trip, I've always end up getting a couple holes in the sleeping pad, and I'm not very good at patching them. So it's probably a personal problem, but for me, to not have to worry about patching my sleeping pad, I bring this type of pad, and then the tear down and setup is really fast. So I'm big into fast setups and fast tear downs. The more efficient, the better. The more time you're out on the road, the more time you're exploring. So that's why I bring this. Now, depending on where you're camping, you might want to bring a tarp to make a roof, to cook under, to hide under if it's raining, so you can still enjoy being outside. Now, if you're going for a week trip and going to be using commercial campgrounds, you might not want to bring this. But if you're going to be camping in the middle of nowhere, I'm going up to the Dalton Highway, I'm going to be utilizing free campgrounds on like the Bureau of Land Management land. And if you want to know more about camping for free, you can literally camp across the country and through Canada for free. Check out a video I made on how to find those and how to make a map so you can camp for free. But the thing is, some of those campgrounds don't have picnic tables, they don't have shelters. So I like bringing this just in case I have to hunker down for a day or two and still be able to be outside and cook. So I bring this tarp, and once again, it compresses pretty well once you get all the air out of the bag. You're going to want some kind of sleeping bag. This bag gets even smaller than this if you sit on it and tie it down. If you have a quilt, that might work better. And then you want to make sure it's at least, I bring a 32 or a 20 degree, so I never have to worry about it getting too cold. Now, like I said, I'm going to be camping in areas where there are no picnic tables, there's no fire rings. You're pretty much self-sufficient. All you have is an area to pitch a tent. That's why I like bringing this Helix chair. It's pretty light. I don't even think it's 3 pounds. It's nice to have a chair to sit down at the end of the day and to be able to cook and just enjoy yourself. So on a shorter trip, commercial campgrounds, I'm not bringing a chair because there's going to be picnic tables. I'm not going to deal with bringing the extra weight, more items. But on a long trip with camping in places where you're not going to have seats, it's nice to sit down at the end of the day. So that's why I bring that. Now, I do bring 2 sets of shoes. I bring these little cushy loafers. They're really light and comfortable. Just slip them on, so when I'm, if I'm visiting a town, or maybe I'm just lounging around my campsite, I like wearing these. And I bring these hiking boots. These are just some Timberlands. I've worn these models before. They keep your feet dry. They're waterproof, so I could hike the trails or go down a creek and fish and know that my feet are going to be dry and my ankles are going to be supported. So on a longer trip where I know I'm going to want to do some exploring, I will bring a pair of hiking boots. Now, I'm a big fan of dry bags, compression sacks and dry bags. This will compress down even more, but I keep my rain gear in this bag, and I keep it accessible for me so I can always just plop it on real fast. And let's move into the clothes. Another reason why I like dry bags is I'll bring a bag this size or maybe a little bigger, and you can actually do your laundry in it. You fill it up with some water, put some detergent or camp suds in it, close it up and throw your clothes in it, shake it around. You can actually clean your clothes. So if you're in the middle of nowhere and you haven't cleaned your clothes for a week or two, it's kind of nice to be able to clean your clothes and just hang it up on a clothesline and let them dry out for a day. So that's just a little tip, another use for dry sack. like I said, I'm going up to Alaska. I'm leaving in the summertime, but on the way, you might be visiting high altitudes up in Alaska. You don't know what the weather's going to be like. So what I like to bring is basically smart wool tights, long sleeve shirt, a wool t-shirt. I might not use them that much in the summer, but for those nights that it gets cold, it's nice to have. You don't have to worry, because it's miserable sleeping if you're not comfortable at night or while you're riding. So then I bring just a really light pair of basketball shorts, 2 pairs of pants. One pair has the zipper so you can wear them as shorts, because it's nice still having the ability to wear shorts and wear a belt so you can hold stuff on the belt. And then I also bring this camping towel, so when I shower, just to dry off. I bring about 3 pairs of socks, 1 pair of waterproof socks, which are nice. Now, my riding boots are waterproof, but if it gets really hairy and rainy, I mean, you're eventually going to get water more than likely in your boot. So it's nice to go to a campsite, take your waterproof socks on, and put a nice pair of, wool socks on. And I bring 3 pairs of wool socks. So that's pretty much everything I bring clothes-wise. I'm bringing, just a winter skull cap, and then this, I've used this lot. It's just basically a winter mask. Keeps you warm. I've used it while sleeping if it's really cold out. And then if you're going into these wilderness areas to camp, you almost have to have, I found out the hard way a few times, it's nice to have a bug net for your face, so while you're setting up, you're not getting attacked by mosquitoes on your face. And it's really light, and for $1, it's a no-brainer. Now, I also have a fleece here that I bring, but I like putting all my clothes into a dry sack, this Sea to Summit dry sack. And I'll show you what I like about this sack, is that it's got a one-way valve. So you can throw everything in there, start to cinch it up, and then you can squeeze all the air out. Because clothes are relatively bulky, but if you put them in a bag like this and squeeze all the air out, it really compresses nicely, and it's not going to reinflate, and you're going to save some room that way. So that's pretty much all the clothes I bring. And I also bring this North Face synthetic winter jacket, because it folds up in its own pocket and it gets about this big. So it's nice to have a jacket like this, because when you're going up north or in high altitudes, you never know how cold it's going to be. So I'll show you my mess kit here and some of the things I keep in this bag. This little overnight bag here, I kind of keep stuff in it that I know I'm going to use almost every day. This is just some coffee I have here right now, but I keep a really basic first aid kit in there, and this is what I cook out most of the time. This little pot here. I make coffee, heat up water, spaghetti. I use a lot of dehydrated food, so this is really basic, and it's really all you need. I bring a fork and a spoon, lightweight fork and a spoon, sponge, just to clean up. And I actually bring, to cook, this actually folds out into a little twig stove. And the nice thing about that is you don't have to rely solely on fuel. You can use twigs and sticks around your campsite to cook off of, which will ultimately save you money. I also just store my little travel air pillow in here. This is my pillow I use, just so it's safe in here and won't get punctured. Now I also have a whole bottle of Advil, some camp suds for cleaning the pots and pans. This is just some shampoo. I also carry my deodorant in here. I like bringing hand sanitizer, obviously to keep your hands clean, but what I really use it for is every couple of days, if you're not showering every day and you're riding, your feet get sweaty and they start to smell, and I don't know, athlete's foot or fungus or wherever the smell is coming from. I rub this on my feet every couple of days and it keeps the smell down. So that's just, I found worked for me. I bring a headlamp. This is really the only light I bring because every modern smartphone now has a light built in. So I have my headlight for a light, and then my phone as a backup if I need a light. I do bring a burning stove. This is a small little burner stove here, and I'll bring a couple cans of this fuel, MSR fuel. because sometimes it might be raining and you don't have the ability to find enough twigs or whatever it may be. And these last actually a pretty long time. If all you're doing is heating up water and that's really all you're doing, they last a pretty long time. So I'll bring a couple of these, and you can find them on the road too if you need to resupply. I do bring a frying pan. You can heat up water in this if you're dehydrating food. If I'm dehydrating more than just one of these little pots worth, you can make eggs in it, obviously pancakes, and fish, because I do like to fish while I'm out. A couple lighters, always bring enough lighters. And then, as I mentioned, I like to fish, so I also bring a fillet knife to clean fish. So all that fits in this little overnight bag, and everything that I put on my bike, kind of everything is in its own package or dry sack or compression sack, just to make everything neat and tidy and efficient, and you don't want to lose anything. So that's my mess kit, basically, my overnight bag, I'll call it. So we'll move that out of the way. I do like to bring this little portable backpack. It's small, it zips up in its own pocket. If I'm hiking for the day, or I'm going down to fish, or I'm going into town or something, it's nice to have a backpack. And I like this one because obviously it's small, it's not super rigid or anything, but it gets the job done. Now I'll get into what I do for water. Now, like I said, if you're going just on a week-long trip on commercial campgrounds, you're going to have the ability to get water in a shower house or a pump. But if you're camping in the wilderness or on some of these free campsites I mentioned, they're not going to have the amenities. They're not going to even have potable water for you. So you have to be able to sanitize the water or filter it. So there's different ways of doing that. You can boil it or you can buy a pump, but what I like to use is Camelback has this all clear model, and basically it comes with this UV light that you thread on the top here, and in 20 seconds of that light and you shaking the bottle, it will sterilize the water. So it's a rechargeable battery in here. One charge gets you about, I think, 60 of these bottles, so it lasts a pretty long time. And I'll also bring this little water bag here for when I hike, or the first thing I do when I get to a campsite and there's a creek nearby, I'll fill up this water bag with the sterilized water from this Camelback, and then this holds 2 liters, so you're pretty much set for a night. And then also if I'm hiking, I'll put this in that portable backpack, and then I'll have water on the trail. I also bring this bandana. If I'm going to a lake, maybe it's not a creek fast moving, you could filter the particulates out of the water. And then obviously bandanas kind of have multiple purposes, tourniquets and other ways of utilizing it. So that's my water setup. Now, here's some of the tools I'm bringing. Now this bag right here pretty much holds any tool I'll need to work on the bike for the most part. I have a couple of spare brake pads in here, a voltmeter. I have a snap jack, which is basically a portable rear jack for the swing arm to lift the wheel off the ground if you need to do some maintenance on your chain or adjustments. I also have wrenches and sockets for all the major points on the bike you would need them for. So this holds all my tools. I bring paracord because, obviously so many uses, right? If I need more rope for my tarp or my tent, if I need to make a clothesline to dry my clothes, you could just imagine, it's good. And here's 100 feet, so I think that's sufficient. I have a little air pump here if I get a flat, and then tire plug kit. And I think on a trip this long, I'm going to utilize and order myself a small compressor, 12 volt that plugs in the cigarette jack, just because this will get the job done, but it's going to take you a while and you'll burn some calories doing it. Now, I'll show you what I kind of carry around at the campsite or while I'm hiking. I bring a pretty sturdy belt that I wear, and on the belt I bring my multi-tool, just a Gerber, pliers and multi-tool. I bring a knife with me. Obviously, so many things you could do with a knife around the campsite that you need. I do bring gloves just because if I'm batoning wood or cutting, just, you know, to protect my hands, or if I'm collecting firewood, just to, you know, stay clean. I do bring bear mace because most of the areas I plan on going to, there will be a potential of running into a bear. Obviously, Alaska, any black bears, brown bears, and also it's really personal protection against any idiots you might run into at a campsite. This is just a little pouch that I also will wear on the belt if I'm hiking or going down to fish. I got an air horn in there in case I need to signal anyone or scare away an animal maybe, some lighters and bug spray, and if I'm going down I might throw a couple fishing lures instead of bringing my whole tackle box. It's just a nice little pouch to throw on the belt. Now this is a Bluetooth speaker that I like to use and set up at the campsites if I'm listening to a book or music. And the nice thing about this Rugged Ruckus is made by Eton. It's solar charged. So you can charge it by a plug or you can solar charge it. And I think a full charge will give you about 8 hours of playtime. And the nice thing is even after the sun goes away, you can charge your phone off of this. So it's kind of like a portable battery supply, so you can charge your cameras and your phone. So that's why I like having this. And I also do bring a portable battery for all the devices I use. But I really enjoy this. It's nice having music at the campsite. As I mentioned, I like to go fishing while I'm on the road, catch food or catch fish to eat or just for fun. So I bring just a really cheap portable fishing rod and some of my favorite lures I'll use. I might condense this down a little bit, but this is basically everything I use when I go fishing. So I'll bring that with me. This might not be essential for everybody, but for me, I have this, I have a little case to hold my cameras and GoPros, charging equipment, some accessories. I bring a wall charger that has 4 ports on it. It's a little bulky, but for 4 ports, if you stop at McDonald's or a place that has an outlet, you can charge all your items at once. So it's nice. Instead of carrying 2 or 3 chargers, you just have one, does the job. I am bringing a laptop with me, so this is just my laptop case I'm bringing. And finally, I'll just go over what I do for food really quickly. After packing this all into the bike, I will fill every nook and cranny with dehydrated food that I make myself. This, for example, is probably 2.5 pounds maybe, and it came from 10 pounds of chicken. So instead of buying food on the road, which I will do, I'll buy fruits and fresh food, but you might be in an area where you don't have food or the ability to get food for a long time. Up north and in areas where there's not a lot of stores, food is expensive. This is a cheap way to do it. You know what you're eating, and I'll just fill the whole bike with dehydrated chicken, beef, vegetables, and it works out well. I really like dehydrating my own food because it's cheap and you can store a lot and it's light. So I'll do that, and then also I forgot to mention I just bring a longboard. I strap it to the back of my bike, and it's nice because if you're camping close to a town, I'll leave my bike at the campground, and maybe I'll go in and have a beer or two and be able to ride back on 4 wheels instead of 2. So I do like bringing my longboard with me. And all this fits in these cases behind me. 2 Wolfman bags and 2 GV side cases. And that's pretty much everything. So it seems like a lot of stuff, but to be able to be self-sufficient and live off of your motorcycle for several months, I don't think it's too much. But if you guys have some more suggestions that maybe I'm missing, let me know. If you want more videos like this or want me to go into deeper detail, leave a comment. And I'm leaving for Alaska in a month, so tag along if you want, subscribe, and ride safe out there, guys. Thanks.